citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel once again, and this is going to be another video game review. It's been a little while since I've done a video game review, but because it is Awful Month, I figured I'd also take a look at a couple awful video games, starting with this one. What happens when someone makes a remake slash sequel of a game that nobody wanted in the first place? Well, you get Shaq-Fu, Legend Reborn. As always, I'm not professional video game reviewer or video game analyst or anything of that nature. Just a man who enjoys a good time, which didn't really have with this game. Unfortunately, like I said, a remake slash sequel. I think it's officially a sequel, but it's more like a remake. It's more the vein of like a remake. But it's one that nobody asked for. Nobody liked the original Shaq-Fu, and nobody liked this game either. Surprise, surprise. Yeah. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And normally with what I do, when I do the reviews, first of all, if this is your first time, then welcome, of course. But also, if this isn't your first time, if you've seen me before, you kind of already know how this works. I talk about what I like and what I dislike, but kind of what I've been doing for like the reviews in terms of like stuff like Awful Month here on the channel, where I look at like the bad stuff. I kind of talk about what I dislike, and then followed up with what I like. So I guess we'll go here with that as well. With what I dislike is pretty much most of this game. The story is kind of it's kind of forgettable. Kind of a weak story and everything. A couple elements and a couple of jokes they try to throw in, but otherwise it's kind of in terms of story. More so in the vein of making fun of a lot of like celebrities and just pop culture in general, which oftentimes isn't really a bad thing, and sometimes you're able to get away with that, but you have to do it in a way that's substantial and in a way that actually works and is actually funny. And this game didn't really do that. Plus, I played a lot of this on mute, so that probably didn't help either. Or why did I put it on mute? I don't know. Sometimes I do put games on mute and then just play like my own music or stuff like that in the background, and that's kind of what I did for this game. But the story was kind of the gameplay was kind of basic. This isn't like the original Shaq-Fu, where it's more like a one-on-one 2D fighter. Or this is more like a beat 'em up, which we've seen plenty of beat 'em ups, of course, especially around this time. But this game pretty basic controls, and you are able to mash through the controls mainly with like square and circle. At least here on PlayStation, I imagine for Xbox or Nintendo Switch, it'd be those button equivalents. But square and circle, well, you mash to kind of get combos going. You do have like a special attack with like triangle. Well, you do have a dash attack as well with the shoulder buttons, more specifically R1 and L1. And so pretty basic controls, nothing too crazy, although I guess that's not too bad a thing, as you can kind of pick it up and play. The enemies are kind of simple to defeat. It does ramp up a little bit in difficulty, but it is kind of at random points. Sometimes the enemies are pretty easy to defeat. Sometimes I think it's because oftentimes, especially towards like the later game, they add a lot of enemies, and it's funny that there's a moment where Shaq voices for, well, he actually does it a few times where Shaq voices himself in this game, but he actually makes fun of like all the enemies, calling it like free to play, making fun of like the free to play games. It'd be a lot funnier if the game that I'm playing currently, aka this game, wasn't also actively doing it, because now it makes you look almost hypocritical, because as you're making fun of all the enemies and stuff, but that's what we've been doing pretty much this entire game, adding all the enemies and stuff. You do get a couple like special power ups, such as like Shaq Diesel, where you're in like a mech suit, and then I believe it's called the Shactus. It's where it's like a cactus suit. You're able to shoot the spines and everything, but those show up at kind of random times in the game, and after a little bit, after a certain section where you're able to use it, then it's taken away. But that kind of tries to spice up a little bit, but doesn't really do a great job of it. It'd be nice if you were able to activate, like there was a certain button you were able to activate it, like most games where you have a power like that, you're able to activate it for a limited amount of time and then it's gone, and then you can either recharge it or find things to recharge it. But nope, it's just random intervals, and you're just able to use it for a little bit and then take it away until the next instance where you're able to use it, the next little area where you're able to use it. So that's kind of okay idea on paper, but in execution it's not really that great. And the visuals for the game sadly aren't that great either. They kind of try to go for almost like a realistic look, but it doesn't really pay off. This is supposed to be like a PS4 / Xbox One / Nintendo Switch game, but this looks more like a PS3 game, unfortunately. I think it would look a lot better if the game was also in the art style of like the cutscenes, where the cutscenes kind of have like a kind of more of a cartoony style. I don't necessarily want to call it a comic book style, but more like a cartoony style. If you see the cutscenes for the game, then you kind of know what I'm talking about. But if those were implemented into like the game itself, and that's how the game looked, I think it would play off a lot better because those are a lot better to look at. But the graphics itself, the ones we got, really aren't that great, and the bosses are kind of dull as well. Also, mostly just dull. And it's a pretty short game. Maybe you can finish it in just a short amount of time. The only reason it took me a while to actually beat it is because I really didn't want to play this game, but I had to do it for the channel. But otherwise, it's a pretty short game. You could probably finish it in like a few hours or so. Yeah, it's a pretty short game. To find things to like about it, I think one of the only things I would say to like is the cutscenes. Like I said, the art style of the cutscenes actually isn't that bad. It's actually kind of decent. Greatest thing ever? Not really, but they actually look kind of like okay. It is the cutscene stock. Not bad. The way the cutscenes, the way the art style plays off for the cutscenes. And like I said, some of the ideas were like okay, but could have been executed better. But otherwise, that's this game. Pretty forgettable. Pretty much, I feel like it's kind of like a time killer game, where if you really don't have anything better to do, you pick up the game, you just pop it in for a little bit. But nevertheless, that's gonna do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the game, or your thoughts on my review of the game. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.